Welcome back, all my aspiring mathematicians. Today, you're going to learn how to solve any math problem that deals with geometric sequence. And geometric sequence is something similar to arithmetic sequence, but it is different. One, you are dealing with addition, and the other one, you are dealing with multiplication. So before we get started, let's first define what a geometric sequence is. A geometric sequence is an ordered list of numbers in which the ratio between each pair of consecutive terms or numbers in the list is the same. Now, the ratio is called the common ratio. Whereas, if you watch my video on arithmetic sequence, you will notice that the D there is called the common difference. With geometric sequence, there is also a formula that we would use, which the formula is a sub n equal a sub 1, multiply that by r raised to the open parentheses n minus 1 close parentheses power. Now let's break down the components of the formula. So the components are such that a sub n is the nth term, n is the index term desired, and a sub 1 is the first term, and your r is your common ratio. It could be a negative number, it could be a positive number, it could be a fraction, it could be also a negative fraction. There is also another formula for finding r. R is simply a sub 2 divided by a sub 1. Also, you need to note that geometric sequence follows the pattern of multiplication. And the reason why it follows the pattern of multiplication is because of the common ratio, which is the r, which the ratio is you multiplying it by a whole number or you're multiplying it by a fraction. And as I stated, those numbers can either be negative or they could be a positive number. So you need to know how to really multiply using negative numbers also. Now, there are 3 steps that you need to take when you are solving geometric sequence. You are first going to determine r. R is simply a sub 2 divided by a sub 1. The second step is that you are going to substitute your values for your a sub n, your a sub 1, and you are going to substitute your r, and you are also going to put in your n minus 1, that is going to be your exponent. Then your next step is simply to simplify that problem. And in simplifying that problem, don't forget, make sure that you are using the order of operation correctly, because if you don't, you are going to end up with an incorrect answer. So, without any further ado, let's first write down the formula and get into an example where you can see how we are going to go about and find the geometric sequence in this. And usually it is a sequence of numbers that is given to you, and then you are asked to find the nth term, or it could be a situation where they give you 2 numbers and also ask you to find the nth term. So let's get right into it. So before we get started, I always tell my students, write down your formula. And the formula here is a sub n equal a sub 1, r is your ratio, and it's going to be raised to the n minus 1 power. And notice I'm raising it up because that's what it is. You could put a dot here to show that you're multiplying, but it's not really necessary. I'm just letting you know. All right. So the first example goes a bit something like this. You're given the geometric sequence, and they usually tell you that it's a geometric sequence or if it is an arithmetic sequence. In this case, we're dealing with geometric sequence, and they are going to give you the sequence. And the first number here is 1, 3, 9, 27, ... That means that the numbers continue, and then you're asked to find the 7th term. Okay? So, we're going to first, step 1, find r, which is our common ratio. Going from 1 to 3, that is a multiplication of 3. Going from 3 to 9, that is a multiplication of 3. Going from 9 to 27, that is a multiplication of 3. So therefore, R is simply multiplied by 3, or we just put 3 because we already know that it is multiplication. So we just write R is 3. All right. So rewrite your formula A sub n and make sure it's not written as an. Don't make that mistake. It's A sub n. So A sub n is equal to A sub 1 R raised to the n minus 1 power. So A sub n, we are finding the 7th term here, and we are going to write A sub 7, all right, equal A sub 1, which is your first term, which is 1, right? That is your first term. So A sub 1 is equals to 1. You can write it out so you know. And then you have multiplied by R, which is 3. And then you're going to raise that. 7 here is the index of the desired term, 7 minus 1. And this is how you substitute your values into your formula. The third step is now to simplify this. And in order to simplify this, all you need to do first is note that we are going to deal with what's in the parentheses, which is also an exponent. So A sub 7 equal to 1 times 3 raised to the 6th power. Now, 3 to the 6th power, please guys, 3 to the 6th power is not, do not tell me it's 3 times 6. No, it's 3 to the 6th power. I'm going to put a cross right there to show you that it's not what it is. It is not that. It is simply 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, 6 times. If you don't have a calculator, that is fine. But if you have a calculator, then you put it on your calculator, you're going to get 3 to the 6th power is going to be 729. All right? But if you don't have a calculator, hey, it's not a big deal. 3 times 3 is 9. All right? 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 9 is 81. 81 times 9 is going to be, just multiply it out. 9 times 1 is 9. And 9 times 8 is 72. See? Voila. Just like that. It's all about me showing you how to level up when it comes to math. All right? So, A sub 7 is equals to 1 times, you can put it in parentheses if you want, 729. So, A sub 7 is equal to 729. All right? And as usual, I tell my students either box your answer or put it in a cloud. All right. And this is what the first example looks like. So as you should know by now, I always like to give more than one examples. So I'm going to do the next math problem that is going to deal with the ratio where it is not going to be a whole number. It is going to be a fraction. Yes, right is the spice of life. Hey, don't just stick to one thing. You gotta level up. So let's get into our next example. Given the arithmetic sequence here, right? And this sequence is going to be 64, 32, then it's going to be 16, and then 8, ... All right? Meaning that the numbers continue. And you are asked to find the 8th term. All right? So, once again, A sub 1 is equal to 64. R, going from 64 to 32, that is a division of 2, which is the same as multiplying by a half. So please, it is multiplying by a half. From 32 to 16, that is multiplying by a half. From 16 to 8, that is multiplying by a half. Don't make the mistake and write 2. No. 2 is totally different from a half. Okay? You multiply by a half, which is the same thing as dividing by 2. But do not write R equals 2. R is equals to a half. And if you notice this case, I'm dealing with positive number. You can also deal with negative number. All right? So just be careful there. All right, so then the next step now is that after you have identified this and find your R, the next step is that you're going to rewrite your formula. A sub n is equals to a sub 1 r n minus 1 power. So a sub, we're looking for the 8th term. A sub 8 is equal to a sub 1, which is 64, times that by r, which is going to be a half, raise it to 8 minus 1. Substituting properly will help you to achieve the correct answer. So a sub 8 is equals to 64 times a half raised to the exponent 7. You might be saying, ha ha ha, what do I do? But guess what? That is simply just a half times a half, and I'm going to write it here. Half raised to the 7th power times a half times a half. You're doing it 7 times. That is all that it is. Okay, doing it 7 times. You can multiply it by this. You know, this is going to be a quarter. This is going to be a quarter. These two, they're going to be a quarter, and then you multiply it by a half. This is going to be 1/16. So 1/16 multiply by a quarter and then multiply it by a half. So this is going to, when you multiply these two, is going to be 1/8, 1/16 times 1/8. So don't go crazy now. You're just multiplying these two across, and you're going to get 1/8 times 6 is 48. So the 4 goes over here. 8 times 1 is 8 plus 4 is 128. You don't have to go crazy. All you need to know is that it's a sub 8 is equals to 64 times 1/128. And you can reduce this, all right? Yes, you can reduce this because you have 4 that can go into all of these numbers right here. If you don't want to use the highest number, you start with the lowest number, which is 4. You can graduate to the highest number or the higher number, which is 8, and you can further graduate. But if you are quick and versed in math, you can realize that the difference between 64 and 128 is that these two numbers are double. All right, so if you realize that, you can now know that this is going to be 64 into 64, 1, and this is going to be twice. Okay, so a sub 8 is equal to a half, and you box your answer. But say, for instance, if you didn't use fraction and you use your calculator, you should have gotten, when you use your calculator, a sub 8 is equals to 64 and a half to the 7th power, meaning you're going to use your calculator and you're going to press 0.5 raised to the 7th power, and that is going to be 0.5 raised to the 7th power. Let me write it by 0.5 here, raise it to the 7th power. So a sub 8 is equals to 64, and 0.5 raised to the 7th power is going to be 0.00781. There are two numbers after. Then on your calculator, I would suggest for you, don't round it like what I did here. All right? What I would suggest for you to do is that whatever number you have, just hit multiply by 64, and then you will end up with a sub 8 is equals to 0.5. And that would be your answer. As you should know by now, this is not going to be all. No, this is not me. I like to give you other variety or other variation of how the problem will be posed to you on topic that deals with geometric sequence. And not just geometric sequence, but I like to give variations in how the question is being posed to you. So I'm going to show you another example where it is not going to straightforward pose it like this, where, oh, the geometric sequence, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to give you the a sub 1, and I'm going to give you the r, and then I'm going to tell you to find the nth term. So let's get into that example where it's posed differently than the first two examples that I did for you. So let's get right into it. The next problem is given a sub 1 is equals to -3 and r is equals to -2, you are to find the 6th term. All right? Straightforward. R is given to you. First term is given to you. find a sub 6. So write your formula. A sub n equal a sub 1 r n minus 1 exponent. The sixth term, a sub 6, is equal to a sub 1, which is negative 3, and our r, which is times negative 2 raised to the exponent 6 minus 1. So a sub 6 is equals to negative 3 times negative 2 to the 5th exponent. And I'm writing it like this. All right, putting parentheses around my negative 2. And I'm going to tell you why. Negative 2 to the exponent 5 is different from negative 2 raised to the 5th power. Because this is simply saying written like negative 2 to the 5th power. There's a difference there. All right. So you have to be very careful. So don't make a mistake. I like to put the parentheses around here so you can achieve your answer differently. All right. So negative 2 raised to the 5th power is simply you're going to do negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. That's 5. You can multiply this out. Negative times negative is a positive. That's 4. This is going to be a 4. And then times, you bring this down, negative 2. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times negative 2 is going to be negative 32. All right. So once you have that, then you can write a sub 6 is equal to negative 3 times negative 2. All right, so a sub 6 is equal to, this is going to be a positive number. Negative times negative is going to be a positive. So therefore, you're going to have 3 times 32 is going to be 96. And you draw a cloud around your answer. So in conclusion, now that you know how to solve these 3 basic math problems that has to do with geometric sequence, I hope that you will not make any mistake and your next math problem is going to be easy for you to answer. The steps are here. Follow the steps. You have 3 steps that you need to take in order to find the geometric sequence. And you can test it when you're done. If it is not an nth term, that's say more than 20 numbers, you can go ahead and follow the R, which is the common ratio, and see if you come up to that number. But obviously, if you're finding, say, 50th number or 60th number or 100th number, you don't want to sit there and write out all those 100 numbers. That's time consuming. So that's why we have the formula that is straightforward for you to apply. And if you need practice on arithmetic sequence, you can also go back and watch my video on arithmetic sequence, and that will help you for problems that has to do with arithmetic sequence. Just note that arithmetic sequence is totally different from geometric sequence. Arithmetic sequence is dealing with the pattern of addition. So you are dealing with adding numbers or subtracting numbers. That is your common difference. And if you are dealing with geometric sequence, you are simply dealing with ratio, which is you're going to multiply a whole number or multiply it by a fraction. And also it could be a scenario where you are multiplying by a negative fraction or a negative number. So please be careful when it comes to these two. But do remember, help is here. I'm always here for you. Go back and watch my video also on even order of operation that can help you when it comes to working with numbers that you need to simplify. Hey, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to turn on that notification, because you need to be notified when I drop my videos so you can be abreast with what I am putting out. If you like what you see, hit that like button. And don't keep this video to yourself. No, we all want to learn. So share this video with others around the world so they too can be advanced in math and level up, level up, level up, level up, level up, level up, level up. Yeah, we want to level up and be ahead. Be smart, all right? Know your numbers. Shrink your numbers, because guess what? In life, you can't live without math. Math and English, those are the two subjects that you can't live without because they go hand in hand. Know your numbers, learn to shrink them, and stay smart. Drink of the fountain of knowledge. Don't gargle and don't walk past it. Thank you for watching and see you soon on the next video to come. Bye now. Cheers.